Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now in this video I'd just like to talk about a cracking little horror thriller I watched last night on Amazon Prime, and that movie is called At Granny's House. Now before I talk a little bit more about the movie and give you my thoughts on it, I'd just like to give you a little bit of background. Okay, so At Granny's House is a 2015 American horror thriller directed by Les Mahoney, who also stars in it. You know, he's one of the characters. So it also stars Marion Rogers, Bill Oberst Jr., Rachel Allig and Glenda Morgan Brown. Now basically the story is about an elderly lady, the titular granny, you know, of the movie, who on the recommendations of a solicitor's son employs a young and beautiful girl called Rebecca, you know, to look after her. Now, initially, Granny isn't Granny isn't too keen on Rebecca, but at the insistence of her son, she finally accepts Rebecca into her household. Her son thinks Rebecca is the perfect fit for the role, you know, to look after his mum. Now, at first, Rebecca, she does seem to do the son's recommendations justice. You know, coming across as a very sweet, caring, and kind girl. However, we soon see a very dark side to her, for she turns out to be a serial killer. Now, Rebecca's evil side starts to emerge when she suggests to you know, the granny, why don't they take in people, you know, who are looking for a place to stay, you know, for free. So well, again, at first the granny's a little bit reverse reluctant in that. Oh, sure, I don't know now, but Rebecca talks around. So what she does, Rebecca, she gets onto this website called My Free Bed. And she basically registers in that, you know, she takes a photo of herself and the granny, and she starts advertising the house, you know, for anybody who wants to come along and stay for the night or whatever, you know, free bed and that. So she soon starts getting, you know, applicants and that. So they get a string of applicants and he starts interviewing them, you know, in the home and that, you know. And some of the applicants who are getting interviewed, Rebecca, you can see by her face she's not too keen on them, because she's sort of like, you know, she sort of like looks the other way and that, and you know, sort of like raises her eyes and that, but then there's the odd one that she does like, so it's basically a selection process, really, like a job interview. You know, they have to interview, they have to go before Granny and Rebecca, and then if they like them, they'll give them the room and that. So she takes these people in, like different people in that, and she starts bumping them off, you know, because she used to work in a mortuary as well, because she says when she gets interviewed about her previous jobs, I used to work in a mortuary and that, so she's got a little bit of knowledge about dead bodies and that, cadavers and that, And now the story gets much darker when you get like a married couple staying, Linda and Ted Steiner. They stay at the hotel and that, and Ted instantly, once he sees Rebecca, he develops a crush on her, and that ensues in a steamy, surreptitious affair, you know, a really heated affair and that, so basically they become lovers, and that leads to Ted bumping his wife off, but I'll leave it there for now. I won't give away any more of the story, in case you want to see it for yourself, but on the whole, Granny is a tight little thriller, you know, plenty of twists and turns, good pacing, good characters, and the house and that, you know, it's quite creepy in that, you know, and it keeps you hooked right to the end and that, you know, it's quite an original horror movie as well, Granny, because I've never seen this sort of premise before. Well, at least I can't remember ever seeing it, like in the movies I've seen last few years. Where you get like people coming to this house being offered free accommodation, and one of the people who's offering the accommodation turns out to be a crazy serial killer. So I thought that was quite an original twist on the story and that. And I must say, the guy who plays the detective, Bill Oberst Jr., he's really on the money in his role. He comes to investigate, you know, the disappearance of Ted's wife and that, and he starts snooping around, asking questions. He was also in The Parish as well. He played Father Felix. Very fine actor. He's quite noted for these kind of roles. He's a great actor. Bill Oberst Jr. And I like the way the story developed as well into kind of a triangle of distrust, because you've got Rebecca and you've got Granny and you've got Ted. And I mean, even Granny, I mean, you can say like Rebecca's the main antagonist, but you can't really say Granny you can't really say Granny is the you know, the good protagonist, because she's a little bit screwy as well. She starts showing a dark side and that when she discovers that Ted killed his wife and that, you know, yeah, and she finds out what's been going on behind her back in regard to Rebecca, you know, a steamy love affair with Ted and that, yeah, and then when she finds out there's a murder been committed, well, she sort of like goes along with it, yeah. So yeah, so all in all, yeah, I'll give Granny a 8 out of 10, yeah. There's just one couple of little aspects of the movie what stretched me credibility a bit. For instance, like Granny, she didn't really look really sort of like, you know, she didn't really look all that infirm. She didn't look like an 80-year-old who can't look after herself and that, you know, and incontinent. She looked quite healthy in that, you know, and she looked quite young in that, yeah, you know. So I suppose you could say really she didn't really need a carer, you know, to look after and that, yeah. But and then like the other thing and all I thought stretched the credibility a little bit was like Granny goes in all too easily into the complicity involving the killings and that, yeah. So there's just those two things, yeah. But other than that, it was a thoroughly enjoyable movie, Granny, yeah, from 2015, and all the actors were really on the money in their roles and that, yeah. And oh god, Rebecca, oh, she's a right vicious, mean girl, you know, bumping people off and that, you know, yeah, and you know, advertising like on this website and that, playing a sort of like hospitable sort of like accommodation host. But you know, as I say, deep down she's got a very dark side, yeah. They're all good actors in this, guys, yeah, they all did a good job, yeah. So if you haven't seen Granny, I highly recommend it. You know, you rent it, it's available on Amazon Prime. Well, I'm on the free membership at the moment, so I can watch it, you know, for a month, watch as many movies as I like, basically, you know, for a month and that. But yeah, so I'm not sure if there's a Blu-ray of it. I think there's a DVD, yeah, but anyway, yeah, so there's my thoughts on Granny from 2015, very good psychological thriller, low budget I grant you, but you know, none the worse for that and that, you know, yeah, all the characters were good, yeah, and you know, as I say, Rebecca, she's one of the worst female serial killers I've ever seen in a movie and that, very dark lady in that, yeah, and she's got no compunction at all about bumping people off, you know, and of course, with it being like sort of like experiencing mortuary work, that sort of like adds on and that, yeah. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed my review of Granny from 2015, and I can highly recommend it if you like a good modern American psychological horror thriller. There's not all that much blood in it, I grant you, but it's good in, you know, it's good in the way it's sort of like the premise and that, the psychological premise and that, you know, and the actions of the characters, yeah, very enjoyable, yeah, and no jump scares as well, no cheesy jump scares, yeah. Okay, that's me review of Granny. Hope you liked it, and yeah, all going well. I'll talk to you all again soon. Take care and stay cool.